Withdraw troops from Afghanistan right now, but he is also not ready to commit more of them. Yesterday, the president met with congressional leaders from both parties at the White House. He's trying to decide on a war strategy moving forward. Two people who were in that meeting are joining us now. Representative Pete Hoekstra, he's a Republican from Michigan, ranking member on the House Intelligence Committee. He's on Capitol Hill. And Representative Ike Skelton, Democrat from Missouri and chairman of the House Armed Services Committee, is in our Washington bureau this morning. Congressman Hoekstra, let's start with you. The president said that he would not substantially reduce forces in Afghanistan or shift the mission to just hunting terrorists. He also said, though, that he wouldn't commit to a troop increase. How strong was the argument in that meeting to not increase the number of troops in Afghanistan?
Well, I think as the president listened to the leadership on a bipartisan basis, I think what he saw is that there were a range of opinions going, from follow the recommendations of your General Stan McChrystal, to others who outlined different strategies. I think what the president now needs to do, he needs to take the time so that he's comfortable with the decision that he needs to make. What he then needs to do is to make sure that he leads and leads boldly in a mission that needs to be successful, outline his case to the American people, and then align all of our resources, militarily, intelligence, reconstruction, to execute the strategy that he selects. We need him to lead now.
Congressman Skelton, Senator John Kerry, who was in that meeting yesterday as well, said it would, quote, be irresponsible to send more troops until it becomes clear, quote, what is possible in Afghanistan. You're kind of rare among Democrats because you believe that General Stanley McChrystal should be given the forces that he needs, that he wants to do the job. Why do you hold that position?
Well, if you look at history, I can think of no incident where holding back forces and reducing forces or limiting your forces led to a successful mission, led to victory. And I really think that the president's going to have to listen to General McChrystal. He's his man, he's his pick. You see, this is a matter of national security. These are the people, and they are harbored by the Taliban in that area. These are the people that not once but 5 times attacked us and caused deaths. And I think we have to do our very best to make this mission successful. And General McChrystal is the one to lead it. And I think the president has a great deal of confidence in him.
Congressman Skelton, what do you think happens in Afghanistan if General McChrystal doesn't get those 40,000 troops he's looking for?
Well, I think there'll be a major problem with the Afghan people. They are looking for us to succeed. They don't like the Taliban. They've lived under them, but they also know that they're there and pose a serious threat.
Congressman Hoekstra, there has been a sort of a middle ground floated as well, maybe giving General McChrystal 10,000 troops as opposed to the 40,000 that he wants. Senator McCain yesterday, coming out of that meeting, warned against that. Senator McCain said, quote, half measures is what I worry about. If the general on the ground, and again, as Congressman Skelton said, this was President Obama's pick to run the mission there in Afghanistan. If the general on the ground says he needs 40,000 troops, does it make any sense to short him on resources?
Well, if the president is going to short him on the resources that he's asked for, then what the president needs to do is he needs to outline a very, very different strategy. General McChrystal has outlined a strategy, said that for this strategy I need 40,000 troops to be successful. If the president is going to resource him differently, then the president has to say, well, I'm not going to buy into your strategy. I have a different strategy that I think that you can accomplish with 10,000 soldiers. Here are the outcomes that I expect that you are going to get. He can't resource him short and then expect him to carry out the mission that he outlined. There needs to be a consistency there.
What do you think about that, Congressman Skelton? It has been said, and these are not people who are military people outside of the military who say that, the commanders ask for the moon and the stars, and maybe they'll get the moon and be able to deal with that, but they know that there's that chance. Does it make any sense to you to not give General McChrystal the resources that he really wants, really thinks he needs?
It really doesn't. You see, the president outlined a strategy in March, and for all intents and purposes, that's when the war started. It was under-resourced then, basically because of our involvement in Iraq, and now the war has started under a strategy, under a hand-picked general who understands this type of warfare. General McChrystal has a strong background in special operations. And when he makes a recommendation or a request, I think the president should hear it loud and clear. Second place doesn't count in this contest.
And Congressman Skelton, finish this off here. A lot of emphasis right now on force protection in Afghanistan. General McChrystal wants to change that. He wants forces to get out there with the Afghan people, offer them more protection, could potentially put them at much greater risk than they are at now, and they're at great risk now. What do you say to your constituents back home in Missouri when you say we may have more casualties here if we pursue General McChrystal's strategy?
I think also it's overlooked that this would help bring about a stronger relationship with the Afghan people. If you work with them, protect them, and they know you're there protecting them and making their lives safer, I think it will help tremendously.
Yeah, but what do you say to your constituents back home that there may be more American soldiers, more American Marines who come back in confidence?
It's a sad thing when that happens, of course, but it is in the national security interest. Remember, these are the people that plotted and planned and carried out not one but 5 attacks on us, and we have to quell that.
Congressman Ike Skelton, Congressman Pete Hoekstra, it's great to catch up with you this morning. Thanks so much for joining us to talk about yesterday's meeting. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
20 minutes now to the top of the hour.